If you have been keeping up with our Millennial Moguls, you would know that this month is Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. And I would like to shout out Sabria Dobbins. She is the owner and founder of Project Passport LLC. She focuses on mental empowerment, retreats, and events for women by women. You can follow her on Instagram at Project Passport LLC. And thanks for tuning in to the Millennial Mogul of the week. Stay tuned for the thought of the day. We are here with Sania from Fly Nance, and she is on the debt-free travel journey. And we're so excited for her to be on this podcast with us. Say hey.
Hi.
Yes, and so we're just going to talk to her a little bit about becoming financially free and also traveling, just trying to get to the journey of becoming debt free. So I would like to introduce her. And
Hi everyone. This is Sania. I am a 25-year-old Black woman investor, blogger, world traveler, product developer, taco lover, and financial freedom enthusiast. Uh,
yes, look
yeah,
at taco
okay.
lover.
You gotta, tacos are life, okay? Tacos are life.
Yes.
And yeah, like Alicia mentioned, I'm the creator of Flynance, which is my platform to inspire others to see travel as an opportunity to not only see more of the world, but do it while being financially savvy. So I use Flynance to document my journey to become debt free, build wealth, and really leave a financial legacy for my family and my community. So I'm so excited to be talking about these issues, especially in the climate that we're in now. I think it is imperative for us as Black people, as Black women, to really understand our finances and use our money to live our best lives, whether that is
Yes.
being able to provide for our families and our communities, being able to build the businesses and institutions that we want to see,
Mm-hmm.
and really just to reclaim our heritage and our lineage, really bring freedom back into our legacy. So I'm so excited to have this conversation with you both today.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited too. And so I was doing a little bit of research and stuff like that. I know people love like stories and what they wanted to know. And so I wanted to like go back after like reading your Instagram profile and stuff. I do want to talk about like how you learned about money because I feel like sometimes growing up we're not um like taught money and different things like that. And
Yeah.
so I do know that you were saying that you like we're paying off like credit card debt or something like that, or like you got into debt and then you like started paying it off. But like I think it was like some post it was on Instagram, it was like you were like you went to LA or something like that.
Yeah.
And you
Yes.
and yeah, you went to LA and like you went on like something, but like some people don't know like sometimes how people's money journey even starts. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to like talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I would say so. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I grew up in Baltimore City, and I definitely grew up with a very complicated view of money. In the very typical sense, my not typical, but my mother is a strong Black woman, and she did everything to give me a comfortable childhood and really provide luxuries that most Black girls growing up in Baltimore didn't have. So I think through things like she took me on vacations, she really opened, she and my parents really opened my eyes up to adventure and travel. They were the first people that ever took me outside of Baltimore, outside of the country. They put me through private school. Like I said, they gave me a very comfortable and loving childhood. But I
Mm-hmm.
grew up never really knowing how much money we had or how we
Mm-hmm.
could afford certain things. I don't know if anyone listening has had this experience, but you grow up thinking things are one way, you see things, you have things or you might experience things, but then it doesn't quite add up because I can also see like the material conditions of our neighborhood. I know that we're not a wealthy family, but yet how am I able to have this very comfortable childhood? So I think in turn that really made me see money as something that was very easy for me to kind of get and spend. I don't think I really grew up kind of understanding money from a discipline perspective, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yes.
And I think it really wasn't until I got to college and was a struggling college student that I really
Mm,
started to understand
yeah.
um, struggle. Through college, I worked multiple jobs. I had work study and I worked other jobs. I think that was really when I started to understand um, our financial situation. Going through the FAFSA process and knowing that, okay, I know I need a scholarship to stay in college and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. I think is that's when I really started to understand not only the sacrifices that my family had made, but also really start to think about, okay, well, where do I want to go in terms of my financial picture? So in college is where I really started to think about financial freedom, though I never really had someone outright say that when I was in college. I attended an Ivy League institution, so there were definitely conversations around wealth and around the place that Black people are in financially. Um, but I think in college is when I really started to think like, okay, like I feel like I'm hearing a lot of the same things. Like if you're
Mhm.
young, you have the opportunity, you have time on your hands, you can invest, you can
Mm-hmm.
build wealth. But it really wasn't until I, was a full time working adult. I talk about this on my blog, but I was taking the subway home from work one day, and I saw an email headline that like really just like stopped me in my tracks. Like the headline was like, "I'm 35 and I'm like about to retire." It was something like that.
Wow.
But that was actually how I learned about financial freedom. How I learned about financial freedom, retire early, the
Mhm.
FIRE movement
Yeah.
was through an article in The Cut. They were talking about financial freedom and highlighting how different people that are everyday earners were building wealth to be able to retire early or live a work optional lifestyle. So that was in 2017, and that was when I really started to think like, oh my gosh, like this is possible.
Yeah.
That's when I started to follow more people just on my personal Instagram page in the financial freedom world. But that
Mm-hmm.
was really what planted the seed in me to say, okay, like this is sounding really interesting to me. Like I love this idea of being able to be an everyday person and still build wealth that can outlive me and be an asset that I can pass on to the next generation. So yeah, I think it was just like a lot of conversations over time, but I would definitely say my whole understanding of not marketing. Let me pause. My whole understanding of money has definitely evolved. Since being a child who didn't really understand my family's financial situation to being in college, really struggling and thinking, no, I can't live like this for the rest of my life.
Mm,
And even being a full-time working adult in New York City and definitely falling into the traps of bad money management and flexing, keeping up with the Joneses. I definitely feel like I've gone through the highs and lows of
mm,
my personal finance journey. So I think that's also what inspires me to keep talking about these issues through
mm,
finance with my friends in my community, because I think there's so much shame that we all carry around money.
mm,
And you bring up a good point. So many of us aren't taught about personal finance in our homes and in our families as a young age, especially in communities of color. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I think for some of us, it's overwhelming to kind of have these conversations and really think, okay, I'm not where I want to be, or not even having an idea of what we want from our personal finance journey. So I'm really committed to having those conversations, and really being honest with people that yes, I might be on a path to building wealth, and I'm very boldly saying and claiming that I'm working towards $1 million net worth this decade. But I mean,
okay.
I'm
Okay.
also working through debt. I've also, I've maxed out credit cards. I've borrowed money from people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've had those moments of fear and panic and just confusion when it comes to my money. So I hope to also show people that it's possible to change and evolve your understanding of money, and allow that to motivate and serve you.
Mm,
Yeah. That was really good. I wanted to touch on 2 points that you said. The first thing is the fire method. Like, could you explain that a
I was
little bit
about to say
more?
that.
Um,
Yes. So, FIRE, financial independence, retire early, is is
okay.
really a movement. At its simplest form, it is a movement of everyday people who want to use their incomes, whether that's through their 9 to 5 jobs, their side hustles, to invest in income producing assets, to be able to build a portfolio that is big enough for them to live off of indefinitely. So it's this idea that if you live below your means
Mm,
and are contributing the bulk of the money that you're bringing home into investments, into the stock market, into real estate, into things that are actually allowing your money to work harder and compound faster over time, that you can actually shorten the number of years that you have to work, that you don't have to live by this. You have to work until you're 65,
mm,
that those ideas are antiquated, and that that it is
Mm-hmm.
possible for us to build real wealth and not be, this, we're not talking about people that are making $300,000. We're talking
mm,
about people that are teachers, that are working um, on salaries that are not unattainable for folks out there. So,
mm,
but yeah, at the simplest form, it's really about empowering people to see that if you live like no one else now, you can build wealth and live like no one else later. So that's really FIRE at its simplest form.
Okay, thank you. I've heard of that before, but I
Yeah,
guess I just never heard of like I heard the acronym before. I've never heard it like this is what this is.
yeah, for sure.
So, and the nice thing you said, I seen this, so it was on your Instagram too. It was talking about like the millionaire network. And you made a really good point, as in like just because you're not like a celebrity or you're not famous, like that doesn't mean that you don't have a net
mm,
worth. And sometimes I think that that could be confusing to people, whatever, because you're always like, oh, this person is worth this point, but this person is worth this point, da da da. So, how were you able, I guess, to figure out how you knew to get how you knew how to get to the millionaire net worth, or in general, like what made you think like I'm gonna work on my net worth?
So I'm very passionate on finance in terms of talking about where I am right now, and where I am right now is really
Mm-hmm.
getting out of debt. I feel that in order to uh, create a financially free lifestyle, a work optional lifestyle, you have to have not only a positive net worth, but you have to have assets that you own that are consistently growing your net worth over time. So, net worth at its simplest form is what you own minus what you owe.
mm,
So when you
Mm-hmm.
think about things that you own, it's, maybe you have retirement accounts, you have cash sitting in a savings account,
mm,
maybe you have art that someone gave to you, you have collectibles, you might have precious metals. All of those things, when you combine the value of all those assets, anything that is income producing or can appreciate in value, is what you own. And then what you owe is any financial obligations that someone is going to come after you for, whether that's your student loans, your credit card debt, your car payments. Any of those things are actually eating at your net worth. So when you think about most millennials, we carry negative net worths. When you think about the student loan crisis that we are all living through, most people in our generation owe more than they actually own. So for me, it was really important to think about my net worth as my next step out of becoming debt free. That I'm doing this not just because I don't want debt, but I'm doing this because debt is actually eating at my ability to be able to retire early, work optional, and have the freedom that I want to work towards and inspire others to do. So why I set my eyes on $1 million net worth is, one, I'm an overachiever. I've always been an overachiever, so I feel like I have to have like ambitious goals to work towards. And I'm very much like a goal oriented person. So for me, I felt like $1 million net worth was possible because I started seeing mostly white women, but I started seeing mostly white women who were doing it on Instagram. Like, there are a couple accounts that I follow of women that are my age or a few years older, and just
Mhm.
seeing how quickly they've been able to build wealth by doing the things that I said, right? By living below their means and just dumping all of their excess income into the stock markets, into their real estate investments, made me see like, oh wow, like this girl is gonna do that. Like she's gonna do it in like, in however many years. It really motivated me to say, okay, I'm in a very privileged situation. How can I also you know, channel the privilege that I have in, not having hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt in debt, having a stable income. How can I channel that into something that is going to propel me forward? And it kind of just felt cool to say, yeah, $1 million this decade. I don't know if people remember, but it's like before COVID, before all of this was happening in 2020, a lot of
Mhm.
us were talking about like that 10-year challenge, like, right? Like everybody was doing the whole comparing who they were in 2009
Yeah.
versus 2019, right? And for those of us who are younger millennials, in 2009, like what we were like, freshmen in high school, so
Yeah.
I also thought about those things. Like we're coming into a new decade, and this could really, these 10 years are going to be so foundational for us as millennial women to not only grind in our careers,
Mhm.
attract lovers and build families, but also build wealth. Like these
Yeah.
next 10 years are really going to make the next millionaires, who are going to be the people that we're going to be looking to for solutions and how we should be moving forward. So yeah, I kind of just felt like the $1 million net worth benchmark felt like a an ambitious goal to work for. And also, as I learned more about the financial freedom retire early movement, FIRE, I learned that what I want in terms of a comfortable retirement, and no, I don't necessarily mean retirement in terms of like being an older person and no longer having to work, but retirement in the sense of when you're making enough money from your side businesses, from your stocks, from your portfolios, that you're actually making as much money through your 9 to 5.
Mhm.
When I started learning more about what it really takes, like how much you actually have to have invested in assets to be able to live off of indefinitely, I found out that it's probably closer to like $2.5 million that I'm probably working towards as a financial freedom number. So when you kind of dig into the FIRE movement, you hear people talk about this, like, what is your financial freedom number? And for me, I know that I want to live a comfortable lifestyle. Like I'm not grinding so hard right now so that I'm like living off of pennies. Like I want to have the freedom to be able to take care of my family, take care of my communities, be able to make charitable donations when I want to, be able to
Mhm.
travel when I want to. So for me, I feel like I want to work towards, a net worth of somewhere in the $2 to $2.5 million. And the thinking is that $2.5 million
Mhm.
compounding every year will continue to grow, and I won't be able to spend it fast enough until it's depleted, so that money could outlive me. So I felt like, okay, if I work towards $1 million
Mm.
in my early 30s,
Mm.
then now we're talking about at least 20, 25, 30 more years that I would still potentially be investing.
Yeah.
I really saw that as a way for me to think not only like strategically about like what I want to do in my 20s, but also looking into the next decades of my life, and where I want to be financially. So yeah, that's just kind of what I put out there. But then also I just feel like it's possible, like it's doable, like
It is.
we
It
can do
is.
it. And I feel like we sometimes, $1 million sometimes feels like a big number, right? Like who wants to be a millionaire? It feels like, oh my God, what would you do with all that money? But like actually $1 million is not that much. Like when you think about, if this was all the money that you had to live on and
Mhm.
you no longer wanted to work, $1 million is not a lot of money.
It's not.
So I also felt like, I wanted to just put it out there and tell other people like, we can do this. Like
Mhm.
maybe your timeline is not in 10 years, but you absolutely, especially if you are a millennial listening to this, like
Mhm.
you can retire a multimillionaire. Like we can do it. Like
Yeah.
we have the opportunity, the time, the resources to be able to build that kind of wealth. And I just felt like I wanted to spark that conversation and put that idea in people's minds that that's what we should be working towards, right?
Yeah, no, you're completely right. Like it's definitely very important to start early right now
Yeah.
to get into that. area. But I was like, I'm kind of shifting now, but like I was looking through your Instagram and I was seeing that you use the cash envelope system. And so I
I
wanted to
do.
know what other like ways that you track your money besides just the cash envelope.
Yeah, so I'll caveat by saying I need more aggressive ways of tracking my money because I am a recovering overspender. So how I even got into debt is from overspending. I hate to tell anyone who's listening who might be thinking like, oh, she probably just took out a bunch of loans to go to school. No, actually, like I am the complete cliche that I graduated from school debt free thanks to family loan scholarships. Graduated from graduate school debt
What?
free, but actually
What? Debt
Oh
free?
my
all my
goodness.
right, okay?
Congratulations.
Such a
That is
blessing,
a
right?
moment of
It is.
silence.
Can you tell us?
Um,
Wow.
and that all of my debt came from my inability to manage money properly. Like it came from living beyond my means. It came
What?
from, oh, I need to take out this money to the, oh, I need to, oh, I'm getting credit cards and oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Did you I didn't mean
No,
to
it's
stop
okay.
you. But did you go to school in New York? Because you said you were
Right.
from Baltimore.
Yeah, I
So
did I attended undergrad in New York City and graduate school in North Carolina. And so yeah, so because I'm a recovering
okay.
overspender,
Mm-hmm.
I have to have like a granular level of watching my money. So
Mm-hmm.
why I even started using the cash envelopes was because I'm definitely, I'm a recovering swipe it, ask questions later, swipe it first, ask questions later type of person.
Wow.
So
You like the
uh,
opposite.
like
I just want to spend it. I'm surprised.
okay, it's like, oh yeah, I'ma just, like those memes where it's like, oh yeah, I'ma just use my debit card and just like, oh, if it works, I got the money. No, 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 no. That's not actually how it works. So using the cash envelopes was a great way for me to really just like get the reins on like what I'm spending because it's like, okay, sis, you got $60 here
Mhm.
for beauty. If you spend more than that, you don't have any more money in there. So that's really a way for me to really control my spending. Another thing that I do that's been very helpful, and I talk about this on finance, is separating my money into different accounts. So
Yes, I just
Yes.
got
Oh
into
my
that.
gosh.
yeah, so and that has been something that I learned from actually other black women that I was listening to like early
Me
on in my
too.
journey. We're talking about, yeah, I have like 15 different accounts, and I was just like, what? Like
I
that
know.
sounds like
Right?
what is
Oh
that,
my
right? Like it's like
goodness.
it sounds crazy. Like if you're completely new to the concept, it's this idea of separating your money into different accounts based on the purpose that it serves for you. So one of the first things that I did was before even starting the cash envelopes was I decided to separate my bill money from my everyday spending money because it all used to come into one account. And then it would be like, oh yeah, like I pay
Mm-hmm.
my bills, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, oh wait, why do these numbers not add up? Oh, right, sis, because you're spending money before it hits your account and all of this. So by literally just starting there, separating my bill money into a separate account than my everyday spending money, it was a way for me to be able to
Mm-hmm.
track what was coming in and leaving my accounts without really thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then another way that I like to manage my money is I'm definitely an analytical person. So I actually like to use like Google Sheets and just kind of add
Okay.
up like this is what your paycheck was, this is how much
Yep.
your rent was, and all of this, and really just see the numbers and
Mhm.
have a visual way that I'm tracking. That's been critical for me, especially in this year that I am committed to paying off all of my debt. That's about $23,000 in debt this year. It's been a way for me to also track like month over month like how I'm doing.
Mm.
So yeah, if folks are interested, I can definitely share links to several different resources. I have friends who are money coaches. It's really just about finding the plan that works for you. So for me, what works best is cash envelopes, tracking my dollars and cents down to the penny in Google Sheets or like an Excel spreadsheet, and also separating my money into different accounts so that
Mm-hmm.
when I'm thinking about the money that I have, I'm really just thinking about the money that's in my bills and my everyday account. And because I know I've already
Mm-hmm.
made a plan for all my other
Mhm.
money in terms of savings, investing, and just thinking more long term.
Okay, yeah, if you want to send us that, we definitely can
Okay.
link that in the description so they can have all that information. And yeah, so one thing you did talk about is like being debt free by December 2020. And so I want to know, like for me, I don't pay anything right now. Praise
That's
the
a
Lord, hallelujah, thank
blessing.
you, Jesus. Yeah, and so some people do pay things, but I want to aggressively tackle it when I do start paying. So like, what are some tips that you are using to pay off your debt? I know it's not student loan debt, but like I feel like it still can help us in general. However, you're like paying it off.
Yeah. So the number one tip in terms of aggressively paying down your debt is to one, understand what is the difference between the money that you have coming in and your expenses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was like very early on in my journey, that was one of the first things I had to come to terms with, was that I, had money coming in. I have a set number of expenses when I think about like my rent and how much I spend on groceries, XYZ. But then when I actually, sat down with a financial advisor, and he told me like, okay, well, based on how in and how much your expenses are, you should have like an extra like I think he said some crazy number like $1,300 left over every month. And I was like, the hell I don't. Where is that
Right.
though?
Right.
Like I was shocked. I was shocked because it was like, oh wow, okay, because I don't have a system to actually know where my money is coming and going. I'm out here thinking like, oh my God, I need to make so much more money. I need to get a side job. These are really the conversations I was having with myself, but actually it was just because I was overspending and not really having a clear plan for where my money was coming and going. So that's really one of the first steps in terms of aggressively paying down your debt, is like, what do you actually have to work with in terms of in terms of extra money left over. So, a lot of people talk about a zero base budget. But essentially all that is saying is that after you think about all the money you have coming in, all of your expenses that you have to pay every month to survive, whatever's left over, once you get that down to zero, that's a zero based budget, right? So thinking about this surplus, if it's a surplus, then that is money you can absolutely be putting towards debt. If you don't have a surplus, so if your expenses are already bigger than your income, then it's a question of like, okay, what can I do to reduce my expenses? So you see things of people who have debt and want to be aggressive about it. It's maybe moving, lowering your housing costs, moving back in with your parents, getting a roommate, getting multiple roommates,
Ooh,
like
that's a
a lot of
trigger.
things that people always want to talk about, because it's like, this whole idea that like, oh, I'm not moving backwards. Like I'm XYZ. I'm 25 years old. I'm not moving in with my parents, blah, blah, blah. But I
Yes.
think, what's curious about everything, I think, especially in this moment of COVID-19, I think we should all be seeing that those things don't really matter, right? That it's like when things really get tough, or you really have a big aggressive goal ahead of you, that several months of making an adjustment isn't the end of the world, right? And to be in this global pandemic where so many of us are, maybe for the first time moving back in with our parents, and thinking about, do I need to live in this expensive apartment, or do I need this expensive car? I think those are also questions that you have to ask yourself when you're thinking about seriously paying down debt. And then, another thing that actually one of my Instagram friends, Eliza of Debt Free to Travel, she recently just paid off like over $16,000 of debt. Yeah, in like a crazy
Yes.
amount of time. Another thing that she was able to do was also pick up side income. So, that doesn't always have to look like a job. I think a lot of times we get so focused on, oh, if I need extra money, I need to get another job. But it's also like, how can you monetize the skills that you already have? Right. So, like, starting this
Yes.
podcast, like, start that blog, start that business idea that you have, right? Like, there are thousands of ways to make money through a side hustle. Something I like to do is just literally search hashtag side hustle, or hashtag side hustle pro, and just see like what are some ideas that people are sharing in terms of making money on the side. Use that to also fund your getting out of debt progress. So but I think in essence, what it really takes to aggressively pay down debt is to just have a level of discipline that you may never have had, right? So truly having to assess like, what do I actually need versus what I want. And yeah, being willing to stretch yourself, whether that is like picking up side income, learning how to monetize your skills, and yeah, just using every opportunity to put yourself forward.
Yeah, I really like what you were saying about spending the money in like the different accounts. I think that's really important, like separating people's money so you know where it's at. And also, I like the idea too of roommates. And I feel like sometimes like this generation is so like, I want to be by myself, I want to be by myself, like I want to live by myself. Like even a lot of my friends are like that. And I'm like, baby, if I can get a roommate and only spend $400 on rent and $800 on rent, guess what I'm doing? Paying $400 in rent and
That's
going on my
right.
trip the next
Period.
month. Like if I can save money now and I can spend money later. And I just feel like, but even in society, it's like, okay, I mean, it's all lies, honestly. You can get a good job after you get out of college. You can move out, you can do this. That's a lie because sometimes
Yeah.
you can't get a good job. And so sometimes I think like in this generation, like we're so shamed. It's like if you don't have a good job, then you might have to move back home with your parents. But like, oh no, you should be living by yourself. Like you're 25, you should have this nice car. And one of my other persons I was talking to on the podcast is like, we don't want no car payment. Like, so you want a car payment, that's an extra $500, but we decide not to take a car payment and have like an older car where we can use that extra $500 to go on our trip. And it's all about how you prioritize your money.
It really
Absolutely.
What you do with your money.
Absolutely.
And so I think that was really important. I feel like the way that you operate, I like the way that you handle things, even now how you're talking about like COVID-19 and different things like that. And I definitely think people should monetize their skills. I honestly monetize some of my skills too. Like I create content all the time, but I never was like, oh, I would maybe get paid for this. So like whatever. I started being a virtual assistant. So I'm glad how you put up like the Side Hustle Pro, like virtual assistant. Shoot, I love being a virtual assistant. Let me see if I can create this as a full-time job. You know what I'm saying? But I think that there is so many ways that people can learn about different things. And you like people always want graphics, people always want to design stuff, people are always starting a business. So if you can like use that to create income for yourself, I definitely feel like that is definitely important when it comes to like trying to aggressively like pay off debt and different things like that. So I wanted to know, do you think like people should have more than like two streams of income, or do you think people can live off of one stream of income?
That's a great question. I mean, some actually that I'm thinking about, even in you kind of explaining the things that are resonating with you. I think it really just comes down to how bad do you want it? Like, how bad do you want to be debt free? How bad do you want financial freedom? Right? Because I think when you start to ask yourselves those questions, then I think it becomes less of an exercise of, oh, but this and that, oh, but I want this. And then it really becomes, no, but actually what's more important to me is this goal that I'm trying to track down. I mean, I am definitely a believer that as millennials, as Black millennials, one stream of income is just not secure enough. I think, not to take it again back to what's happening in the current events, but I personally know several friends who unfortunately have lost their jobs and for the first time are 25, 26, 27 filing for unemployment. And I don't think any of us could foresee that was going to happen as we thought about 2020 coming in. So just thinking about, if you truly are relying, and I know for me, that's something that I'm doing right now. Like I rely on one income, my 9-to-5 job. I mean, that's not entirely true. I have other streams of income, but they aren't profitable enough to the fact that I could live off of those instead of a 9-to-5 job. So I think it is absolutely critical that that we all build multiple streams of income, and I think we should also empower ourselves to really learn about ways that we can make money besides just a job. So something that I'm thinking about is, for example, interest income. Like that is a stream of income. So if you have money in a high yield savings account, in any account that is generating interest, earning interest, for example, that is a way of that's a stream of income. When you think about people that have hundreds of thousands of dollars in saved in different accounts, invested in different accounts that are earning them interest and dividends, that is a legitimate way to build a stream of income. So I know for me, something I'm thinking about as kind of my goal next year to to build wealth after becoming debt free is really, I want to get really intentional about investing in dividend paying stocks, for example. So there's a Black woman that I love to follow on Instagram. Her handle is, I think it's underscore Ashley M. Fox. Do y'all know who she is?
No, I never heard of her, but I sure
Yes,
am writing her
that's
name
her. That is her
down.
handle, underscore Ashley M. Fox. So she is a financial educator, and she also started her own platform to teach other people how to build wealth. And one of the things that she talks a lot about is investing in dividend-paying stocks. So if you think about a company like Disney, they pay a dividend to all of their shareholders as a way of thanking them for owning a piece of the pie, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
I
okay,
know what you're
maybe as
talking
you're
about.
starting out, you're only investing like $50 a month in a dividend paying stock like a Disney or whatever. For example, like I have like a very small share of Johnson and Johnson, but they pay me a dividend. Their stockpile, I invested in Johnson and Johnson. They pay me a dividend, I think every quarter. But I don't have much invested right now, so it's like pennies on the dollar. But like, think
Yeah.
about people that have 50, 100, $250,000 invested in dividend paying stocks that are always generating them a dividend. That's a way of having another stream of income. I think we also have to empower ourselves to learn about what is truly possible, right?
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. That's what I was about to say. You gotta learn
yeah,
about it because you don't really know what it is. But I do know what you're talking about though now. I started investing right now. I think I'm in a couple of things, but
for
also it's
sure, for
hard
sure.
work.
And I
Sometimes
think,
I'll be like,
I
whoo,
don't even
child.
know what's going on with it. Like I have
right.
Robinhood and I buy like shares in a couple things and I'm just
Me
like, oh,
too.
okay, I'm seeing money going up, but like I still feel like I need to go back and do my
Yeah.
research and really understand like what's going on and how to like put my money in certain companies so I can see a huge growth in my money.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's so true. I think that is part of the reason why I look to so many Black women who are investors um for advice, because I truly feel like if there's no one on the planet who is going to steer me in the right direction,
It's
it
gonna be
is definitely going to be a Black woman who is actually out here building wealth from
yeah.
investments, right? But I guess one of the things that I really want to drive home is in your question around, okay, should you have more than one stream of income? Yes, but the goal is not just to have another stream of income. You could get another job, and that's technically, like that's another source of
Another
income,
stream.
right? So, but really the
Sure.
goal is that we need to be building ways for us to make money that don't require us to trade our time for money, right? And I think that's what we need to drive home. So it's like, whether you see yourself investing and you want to buy properties, you want to rehab them, you want to buy and sell them, that's great. Do that. If you want to invest in stocks, if you want to write books and earn royalties, let's really learn about the different ways that we can make money that don't require. Exactly. Make
like
passive income that don't require us to have to clock in for 40 hours or more a week.
Yeah, that was so good. Streams versus sources. And I know a little bit about that, but I feel like some people don't even really know the difference, because if you get another job, like it's still another job. Like you're making different
Right.
sources, but you're not having different streams. So I thought that was really great how you tied that into that one. I think that is definitely important in
And I
today's
so
day
appreciate
and age,
that
I
you
should say.
both said that you're both willing to learn. I think that is what we have to do, especially as millennials who are interested in these types of topics. I think we have to also you know, stop expecting ourselves to know everything or feeling like we have to be experts to be able to even talk about things. Like, I'm not a professional expert. I'm not a personal finance expert. Do not come to me for investing advice. But what I think I am able to do is that I'm really able to pull these conversations out of people and really get people to start thinking authentically about, okay, like, am I comfortable with like my financial picture? Like, if I can do it, then like other people can do it, right? And I am constantly learning. I think that's why I love the digital community that I've been able to grow on Instagram, because I feel like I'm always learning something from someone, right? I'm always learning about what is possible, what I could be doing, who could I be learning from. And I think when you have that mindset, that very like growth mindset around your money, I think that's the only way that you are going to be able to work towards financial freedom, because it is so counterculture to say you're going to be a Black woman in America building wealth. Like, that is like that's a danger. Like, come on, like I
Yeah.
know this episode is
Mhm.
gonna be launched
Definitely.
in July, but I just have to make space for, today is June 1st, 2020. It's 99 years since the Tulsa race riots, where literally
Yeah.
mobs
Yeah.
of white people burned
Yes.
down a prominent, self-sustaining Black
Yeah.
community in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Mhm.
So to say,
And they
okay,
mad because stuff is getting
Right?
burned
okay,
down. I do not care. Y'all burned down
We
Tulsa.
learned looting from
We gonna
you.
burn down
okay.
America.
In
Like,
fact, so if that is not a sign to us
I don't understand.
that is truly a way that we can also impact social change, is
True.
by building wealth and having the freedom
Mhm.
to be able to say, I want to put my, my time, my resources towards this, because I've built out these systems to uplift myself and my community. I think that is truly when, like,
Yeah.
that has to be part of, as we're
Mhm.
thinking about, like, what does a reality
Yes.
for Black liberation look like? It has to involve us taking the reins
Mhm.
of our capital, of our wealth, and of our freedom.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the whole thing about it, is like we need to be more educated, because we're
Right.
not
Mhm.
necessarily always educated about money and how it is and what we can do with money and stuff like that. And I feel like that is kind of the most important part, is like, first you need to know what you can do with money, or how you can make money when you want to go up. Because like, I know I want to be a millionaire like by the time I'm 30, and I'm saying that. And one thing I was doing, like, I do love Facebook because that's my community or whatever, but one thing was like, quit asking people like who never been where you're going, or maybe not even want to achieve that. And so like, I love Instagram. I know they say like social media, it could be like this and that, whatever, but
Mhm.
like
Yes.
Instagram, like that's how I
Yes.
connect with people. That's how I learn about different things. I don't get that financial stuff on Facebook, because like everybody's not adding you as a friend on Facebook, but you can follow people, or you can just go and be stuck on Instagram forever. Like, that's how I got stuck on your page. That's how I know so much about the pictures, because I was looking, and then I
Yeah.
found somebody else on your thing, and then I'm going to their page, and it's like learning about like budgets, and like me just talking about people. Like, I already have like separate accounts, but I never was like oh, I'm gonna get separate accounts because
Okay.
blah blah blah. I just had separate accounts because I just
Yes.
had them. But being more intentional about it. Okay, like how you talk about high yield and savings. I've learned about that a couple of times.
Girl, you
I was like,
Yes.
oh,
Do
that's
it,
something to
girl.
and
I
create
have,
me one, because I heard about
yeah.
it for 3 other people. And so like, it's just all about that educating and like getting out the thing of like just having a 9 to 5 job, which I'm not saying that you just like you won't build wealth having a 9 to 5, but just also learning about how to use that money to invest in different things, or just even going on Instagram or going on Facebook and learning about like financial freedom. Like, if I didn't have no student
Yeah.
loans, I probably could be a millionaire quick, but Sally Mae got me, you know what I'm saying? But like, so I just always feel like it is like, I'm like a person, like the growth mindset, like just trying to learn, just trying to figure out how I can create something that I know that can be long standing, because I do want to be a millionaire. I do want to be financially free. And that brings me into the travel. I love to travel. I've been traveling since I was even born. And so I'm like, I still want to travel. I don't want to be like asking no boss,
Period.
like, oh, can I get this weekend off? Can I, like, no, I can get the
Okay.
weekend off because I done worked 3-4 days for myself and did what I did, and
Mhm.
I can create that
Absolutely.
lifestyle for me. And so I feel like sometimes like it looks good, or like people don't know, but it can be good. You can create the life that you want, but
Mhm.
sometimes you do just have to like educate
Yes.
yourself. Sometimes I feel like people don't really
Exactly.
do that, but what this is
Yes.
what the podcast is for, to educate y'all.
Uh-huh.
So all you gotta do is keep listening.
So I kind of got a question. I mean, she did talk about
So
traveling and
yeah.
stuff, and right now, obviously, we can't travel because of COVID. But even though before that, like I haven't done too much traveling, so I don't know like the tips and ins and out when it comes to traveling, how to save money with it. And I also noticed that you talked about travel hacking, and like, how did you even get into that? So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so like I said at the beginning of the episode, my parents were really the ones that opened my eyes up to traveling. So it's
Mhm.
definitely, it definitely resonates with me, this whole idea of like, I've been traveling my whole life. I definitely feel
Yeah.
that. And I think now being my own independent adult, it is something that is a non-negotiable for me. So
Mhm.
I'm very intentional about saving from every paycheck towards travel in a travel fund. And that is just a savings account that I have that is
Yes.
specifically for travel. And that's not to say like your girl has been jet setting, okay? I have not always done it in a very like financially responsible way. So, I know you mentioned like the LA post that's on my okay, your girl balled out. I was not thinking about nothing, okay, nothing, but I was, okay, only one life. But now, my mindset's a little bit different that like, okay, no, traveling does not have to require me to, deal with bad money consequences. Like I can do it in a sustainable way. I can still be intentional and I can still take flights. I can still, go to amazing places. I actually started off 2020 with this goal that I was going to cash flow trips to 4 countries this year. Obviously COVID put a little wrench in that, but it's okay. She told us to have a seat. So literally, she was like, "How about you have many, many, many seats?" But even through all of this, even through this moment of not traveling, I've still been saving towards traveling. So as I think about truly saving more money to travel is how I really learned about travel hacking. And travel hacking in its simplest form for anyone who doesn't know is really just this art. I'm not even gonna say it's a science. It's kind of like this art of using travel reward points from credit cards to get reward flights, travel, hotel rooms, etc. I actually just did a live on this topic that you can see on my IGTV on at Flynance. But I really fell into travel hacking because I worked I worked at a credit card. Like my first big girl job was at a credit card company, and I started to have more conversations with coworkers around travel hacking, and they were kind of telling me things. And that was the first time I ever really thought like, oh, I didn't even know about the concept before I started working at a credit card company. So I really think that more Black people, more Black women should be learning about travel hacking. I think especially if you are building and maintaining good credit, it is a great way to save a ton of money when traveling. Actually, my friend Miriam of Millennial Money at Millennial Money, she and I did the live together last week, and she's incredible. She had travel hacked with over 1 million points, like over the course of several years. She'd opened up so many cars and she had 1 million points, and she was like taking trips. She was taking her friends on trips, her family on trips. And, she was just talking about all the money that she saved by being able to stay in free hotel, and obviously nothing is truly free, but to really offset the cost of her travels by travel hacking. So it's something that I'm really, I've dipped my toe in. I've gone to a few places. I've been able to go to Colombia and Antigua. And through travel hacking, but it's definitely something that I'm thinking about more seriously, especially as I become debt free. So, if anyone's curious about travel hacking, we did a whole IG live on just our different tips and strategies. That's on my IGTV. I definitely would point folks to that resource just to kind of hear about how we got started and the different sites that we use to do it. But I would say that like travel hacking is not a passive act. It is a very intentional exercise, right? It's not, you're not just doing it because you have the points. It's about being intentional. It's about doing the calculations and actually making sure you're getting the most value for your points. It is not just, I'm just frivolously giving up these points because they still have value, right? So even if you're not necessarily paying cash for these trips that you're taking, like there's still value behind what you're doing. So doing it in a really smart, intentional way is I'm all about as well.
Yeah, I saw that too. So I will watch that IGTV. And I do know about like credit cards and everything like that. They talk about points stuff like that. But what I be saying, I like sometimes it's really overwhelming. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to start. And I never really travel hack. I just be traveling. But now I think I'm gonna be more intentional with it when I'm trying to do the things. When you don't have anything to worry about, really, you're just like, okay, I'll just go, whatever. But like now it's like, okay, well, how can I get this card, or how can this work for me? How can I get points back or whatever? And so even like with the airlines that you use. My bad. And even the hotels, like even having rewards and stuff like that, and credit cards. So it's just like all that wrapped into one. I think is like really important when it comes to like trying to travel and trying to get your money's worth, but also
and we
trying to
can
save a
honestly,
little coin here
travel
and
hacking
there.
is such a huge topic. Like we could honestly spend a whole episode on travel hacking. So it's hard to kind of
I
like
know.
distill everything
Oh, no.
down into, into a few bite-sized, words on the topic. But what I will say is actually now is a great time, even though we're not traveling, now is a great time to actually like come up with a plan for travel hacking, especially if you're someone who might be thinking like, yeah, that would be cool to like use credit card points to go somewhere cool like next year in 2021. Like now is the time to do it, So, what we talked about on that live session was I think utmost priority is building and maintaining good credit. So if you're I think we talked about on the IG live that your score should probably be at least 700 plus if you're thinking about travel hacking, just to make sure you get qualified and you actually get approved for some of the best travel reward cards. So if your credit score is not there right now, then now is a great time to take up those free credit reports. You can go to annualcreditreports.com and you can see you can see your credit report for free. Get those dispute letters out there. You can literally Google credit card dispute letters and see a template and be able to, if there are things on your credit report that aren't accurate, it's about, paying down your balances if you can. I know that's something that I've been very aggressive with throughout this moment, is just any money that I've been able to save, like by not going out, commuting, etc. I've just been trying to send it to debt, right?
Right?
You've been
okay, your girl's not playing, okay? Your girl's not playing. $20,000 in 12 months is a lot of money.
That's a lot.
Your girl's not playing, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm
Are you having a party or
actually, okay.
celebration?
So
I'm trying to
all, so the biggest gag is I'm trying to be in Ghana for New Year's Eve.
Okay.
Oh sis, link up. Okay,
Yes,
please link up.
for the New Year's.
I know I'm nervous,
Yes.
but I'm
I
praying on it.
don't
Okay,
know now, but
I'm praying on it.
My goal was to go to Africa. I really just wrote a post. I said, dang, COVID just swiped my whole thing. I was trying to get my money. I said,
I'm dead.
Someone over there say what's up for me. Because yes.
Yeah, so I mean,
I
I missed last year with the year return, and in hindsight, okay, now I wish I had gone if I would have known.
Yes,
hindsight is 2020. Ooh, that is ironic.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, that would be my absolute, like, that would be the most wonderful thing if I send that last debt payment and I'm in Ghana. Like that would just be such a full circle moment, like really turn up, okay, like all the way up.
Music too, so you could dance all night. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so that's what I'm kind of hoping for, but we'll see with if it's safe to travel then. But yeah, like I was saying, if you are really serious about travel hacking, I think now's a great time to build and maintain your good credit. If you have strong credit, in that 700 plus score, I think now is a great time to think about where would you like to travel hack to. Like I know for me, like I have a dream of like travel hacking to like Hawaii, because it's just so easy to do, like getting like the flights and the hotel. So for me, that's something I'm thinking about. Like I would love to take myself on a Hawaiian vacation all by using points to travel. So like, for example, think about where you'd want to go that you could travel hack.
That's weird. Because
I
want to go to Colombia.
Yes. So, thinking about that and just like, even just starting there, Google like, okay, travel hack to Colombia, like travel hack to Hawaii, and really just start to get comfortable with the blogs of people that are talking about this. Like we talked on the IG live, the Points Guy is like the #1 blog that I go to learn about travel hacking and just see the different offers. And their team does a really great job of just like really breaking down the concept and telling you, okay, if you want to go here, you do this. So really starting to understand and read, use this time to like read and learn and really start to strategize around like, okay, if I know I want to go to Colombia and I live in this city, then like what airlines actually get me there? Okay, from there it's like, okay, if it's JetBlue, American, Delta, then like what's the best card that'll give me the points for this? And just starting to actually think about that while we have the time, while we're not traveling, I think is a great way to use this time to get ready for travel hacking.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really good too, just to research. I've heard the points guy before too. Haven't looked into him, but maybe I should look into him.
No,
So
this
this
was
is our last
great.
question. I know we asked you a lot
Yes.
of questions. I hope you enjoyed your time with us. So what are 3 things you would tell someone who is starting out with
Ooh, 3
paying
things that
off
I
their
haven't
debt?
already mentioned, or 3 more things?
Yeah. Yeah, 3 things that that you already mentioned or that you want to reiterate for real, like, so, positive
Yeah,
or
I mean, the
something that they
first
should
thing I
do.
would say is get
Or
organized. Having, whether that is a journal, a dry erase board, an Excel sheet, whatever you're going to use to visually hold yourself accountable and be able to see all of your balances, all of your interest rates. I think that's like the absolute first step, because then from there, I think you can then see what payoff method is going to work best for you. So, there is the idea of like the debt snowball, the debt avalanche. There are lots of different methods out there in terms of paying off your debt. A great tool, 2 great online tools that you could use if you want to visually see how much debt you have, how much it's costing you in interest, and like what a potential payoff date could be. I like Undebt It, and Unbury Me. So they're both like digital tools that you can plug in all your balances across your student loans, credit cards, auto loan, whatever, mortgage, and actually be able to see, okay, like if I make $600 in payments every month, then my payoff date is going to be this thing, and just kind of using that tool to play around and say, okay, like for me, it was, I want to be debt free by the end of 2020. Now, what does that mean for me in terms of like, like how much I should be paying off every month? So definitely the first step is getting organized. The second step is, just to reiterate, it's really understanding like what are you bringing in, what are your expenses, and like what is remaining. If you have a surplus, all of that should be going towards debt, in my opinion, if you're really aggressive about it. If you don't have a big enough surplus, then it's like, how can I shrink my expenses? I think especially because we're in this moment of this global pandemic, things are probably not going to fully open up for several more months. Continue to be disciplined. That's something I'm definitely trying to keep myself to, especially now that summer. It's still being disciplined. It's saying, I know I don't need to spend all of this money on frivolous things because I know I want to be out of debt this year. So, really starting to have that assessment of needs versus wants and understand what can you do with the money that you do have, to be able to pay off debt aggressively, or look for ways like we talked about in terms of monetizing your skills, or looking for ways to supplement your income or make money. And I think the third thing is just, being realistic, being realistic with yourself. I think celebrating your small wins. I tried to do that for myself the other day. I made my last payment on a personal loan that I had taken out for almost $10,000 in 2018. Yeah, and it was I had to really take a moment to celebrate that win. I remember the pickle I was in when I had to get out that loan. Like, I couldn't pay off my credit card bills because I had a ball so hard summer. And yeah, I remember that feeling of like seeing those balances on my credit card bill, and just being like, oh my God, like I can't pay these off. Like, what am I gonna do? And opening that personal loan, and like, it took me 20 months to pay it off. So, even just celebrating for myself that small win of, no, I'm not debt free, but like, it feels so good to not owe that $500 every month to to American Express. So, being realistic with yourself, celebrating those
right.
small wins. I think having a community of support is so critical. For me, I think it's like using finance to talk about my debt was like one of the best things I could do, because now I have almost 2,000 people that are holding me accountable because okay, my friends, like if I'm late on posting my debt update, my friends will be in my text like, sis, where's your debt free? Right. No, seriously. Like it happened the other month. Like my friend was like, we've been waiting for your update. And I'm like, yes, hold me accountable. Like that matters, finding that support, even if it's not the people in real life. There's plenty of us in the hashtag debt free community that would love to support and cheer you on. So that was definitely more than 3 things, but
Good.
but yeah, just I think all of those things are ways that you can really face and attack your debt.
Okay, sorry. This is just a sidebar. So after you become debt free, are you still I guess like you're still going to use Flynance, but are you going to like try to talk about just like becoming like your net worth and stuff like that? Is that what you're going to do after you become financially free? I mean, financially free.
Yeah. So my plan with Flynance post debt freedom is continuing to have a space where one, I'm highlighting and showing myself and other Black women who are traveling, who are doing it without debt. I think it's so important. Like I'm not trying to ever be in this place again. So I want to make sure that I'm showing people that it is possible to continue traveling the world, and you don't have to put yourself in debt to do it. I'm ready to like go off on the wealth building side. Like I want to get into more conversations and show people how, how you can quadruple and double your net worth in a few short years. I want to show people what is like the power of investing in index funds and how you can do that across different markets. Okay. Yeah, you're going to bring me back. And I'm already thinking of people I want to bring on with me that are talking about this, right? Okay. And that's on period.
Yes, well, think about them too, because words out here.
Yeah, and then just having this space where I'm also just showing people like what is possible when you have that freedom of not having debt. So I know for me, like yes, I want to have $1 million net worth, but something I want to do even in a shorter term is, in 3 years, I want to take a break from working. I want to be able to travel the motherland. I want to travel the continent of Africa. Like I want to see. Be able to take a year off to travel, and like how am I going to work towards that, and showing people like what's possible. It's also crazy because I feel like I don't know that many Black people that have done that. Like I found plenty of blogs of blonde white women, and I'm just like, okay, I feel away.
For real? You should look up Stephanie Perry. She did it at 40, and she did Stephanie Perry. And then if you look at her, she has Rashida. There are some Black women. Oh, you should go to Stephanie Perry. She has like a whole YouTube series about like traveling abroad and stuff like that for like a year, 6 months. It's called, like,
so you have to send me her profile after this because I need to follow her. But so Flynance will continue to be a space where we're talking about travel, freedom, building wealth, and also continue to highlight and show people living a debt-free lifestyle. I think even when I become debt-free, I'm always going to be here for millennials, for Black women who are taking control of their finances and truly saying, actually no, I'm not going to have debt be a common thing in my life. So yeah.
Right.
Okay. Period.
I'm talking about some 10 years. No,
okay. Period.
5 years. Okay. I don't want that. I don't got time for all that stuff. I'm ready to go. So yeah, I usually ask people like what how they brought up their name or whatever, but your name literally says what it is and it shows it through. So I'm glad that you segued into that. And this is my ultimate last question. What is, besides Ghana though, what is like the thing that you really want to ball on now? I guess because stuff does come with sacrifice. So like paying student loans off and different things like that. What is one thing that you really want to buy that you feel like you've been sacrificing?
Oh my God. It's so funny that you asked me that because I have like a whole iPhone list of just like things, like a note of things, because it's just like things will pop in your head. It's just like, actually, no, I have to like delay that instant gratification. A very small thing that I just like won't pull the trigger on because I'm just like, oh, like that $300 could be like a whole debt payment. I really want an Apple Watch. Like all my friends that are active got them, and now I'm just like that one girl that's still like, I don't have the activity ring. Sorry. So that would be like a very small thing, and then I am a recovering shopaholic. So, I mean, I definitely, this is going to sound awful, especially right now because so many people are like down with corporations, but like, I'm sorry, I just gotta say, like, your girl wants like a Gucci Dionysus bag. It's like, it's the print one with the little. I know. Y'all, they gonna boo me. Like,
Sis,
somebody
the
like,
Gucci.
boo,
Sis,
after
you
all
wanna get
that,
my
she wants
bag?
a Gucci
Y'all
bag.
get a band. I'm
I
just kidding.
can't help it. I mean, people like what they like.
It's
People
okay.
like what
People
they
like
like.
what they like.
And I
Louis,
just
Gucci,
refuse to buy
Prada. You
one when it's
know,
just like,
yeah.
girl, you have $5 to put in it. How about you leave? So.
Oh yeah, that was one thing that I think I did forget to ask you. I mean, you don't have to answer, but I was gonna say, like, for the people who, I guess, like, I did love to shop too, and that's one thing I stopped doing. And I'm so sorry about that. I knew it was gonna happen. That's one thing. Like, in college and undergrad, I didn't have to worry about that. I could shop, I could do this or whatever. But like in grad school, I was like, okay, let me stop shopping and let me go on trips. Like, let me like try to do that. So I was like, I know some people, even if they are like recovering shopaholics or like they feel like they shop too much or they want to stop shopping. Was it like, did you have to like change your mindset? Like, was it because of the debt? Like, was it because of like, you were like, oh, I want to be financially free? Or were you just like,
So
I
would
just have to
say
stop
even
cold
what
turkey
led
with
me
shopping?
into debt wasn't even so much shopping. I mean, I am a recovering shopaholic just because I feel like I grew up in that kind of like environment. Like, my mother has like multiple walk-in closets. Like, it's like that kind of thing. Like, it's just like I inherited that through my. But no, actually, what my triggers. So my triggers are actually like eating out and like convenience, like Uber, like ride sharing. Because I live in New York, so it's like I don't have a car. Like, people are like,
Yeah.
I don't have a car, so it's like I'm not going to Target. It's like, what am I doing? Is like, ooh, I really want them to deliver me some food. Like, ooh, or like, like pre-COVID, it's like, oh, if like my homegirl hits me, or like if somebody hits me up, I just can't say no. Like, yes, we have to go out for drinks. Like, yes, we're gonna do this and that. Oh God. So those are actually my triggers more so. So yes, I absolutely have had to learn how to say no more, just get more comfortable with really prioritizing like special occasions that I want to spend money on. And I was doing really good actually in combination with cash envelopes and just being really vocal with people, even at the beginning of the year when, people would invite me out, going out for happy hour and not being afraid to say like, actually, I'm gonna just drink water, y'all. Like, I'm not that pressed to spend this money right now. And the beauty is having supportive friends and colleagues that are like, yeah, I'm here for that. Like, I'm not like, like, and that has happened. Like, there were times when even before COVID in this year where I was just like, hey guys, I'm on a budget, so I'm not gonna spend any money, but I still want to hang out. And having friends that are just like, we're so happy that you're here. Like, it doesn't matter to us if you're spending money or not, and we're not gonna pressure you into it. So yeah, no, it definitely, I think it's the only way to pay off debt aggressively, like I said, is by having that discipline to say, I'm gonna delay this instant gratification now so that I can be in a different place later. Okay.
I stay drinking water, okay? I stay drinking water.
Yeah.
Taking water to go too.
And that's on
Love to
period.
hang out,
Okay.
but my good sis gotta pay for my student loan debt. I'm about to use that. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on behalf of us. I thank you for joining us. If you have any last remarks, tell them where they can find you at, follow you at, for your future content, because I know they're gonna be ready to connect with you because you was giving the tea. You know what I'm saying?
I know, we were
This
just
is
chatting and chatting.
one of the longest episodes ever. So I'm trying to give them everything. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm excited though, because some people were like, "Oh, your episodes are like so
I
short,
love
they should
it.
be longer." Okay, well, this season,
But yeah, so folks can absolutely
So,
check me out on my blog, flynance.com. I am posting weekly and really starting to build out my content around travel and debt freedom and financial freedom. You can also find me on most social media platforms, but I will say Instagram is my favorite. So I'm at fly.nance on Instagram. And yeah, I feel like I'm always cooking up something on Instagram. So that's probably the best way to stay connected with me. And I'm also available by email, contact@flynance.com. So Yeah, feel free to reach out anytime. I would love to hear from anyone who is on a personal finance journey. I'm always looking for people to feature, especially millennials and millennials of color. So if you are someone who is a debt-free traveler or working to get yourself out of debt or really building wealth for yourself, I would love to hear from you. Thank you, ladies. This was
Yes,
great.
so
I really
thank
appreciate.
you so much.
Yes.
Yes, this has been so fun, and I'm
Yes.
definitely going to send you that information. I'm definitely going to keep talking with you, because you know,
Okay.
if we
And
can
that's going to
travel,
be
we
a
can make it to
great
the
moment.
Ghana,
We're
the
just like, listen to
motherland.
our podcast episode. We
I'm trying to
foresaw
go
this
over there.
happening.
Yeah.
Manifest
Yes,
it.
like
Yes.
speak it into the atmosphere, manifest us something, baby. We just gonna figure it out. So I definitely appreciate you for coming and spending your Monday
Yeah.
evening with us. I know everything that's going on in New York and stuff like that is crazy. With
Thank
curfews and things
you.
like that. But just
Yes.
stay safe and keep your mask on. So I'm just trying to tell everybody, if you're
For sure.
attending
Yes.
protests and stuff like that, just keep the mask on. Okay.
Right.
And yes, thank you so much.
And it has been brought to my attention that the episode is over. I know. But if you want to keep on following up with us and staying tuned for the next episode, make sure you follow us on Instagram at Millennial Thoughts Pod. And I want to leave you with this. Passion or purpose, profit or pain, I don't want my name to ever be in vain. A life full of purpose is the only thing that will remain the same. Millennial Thoughts.